Hello, this is Team Dawgsforce, and if you are an intern and you have watched part 1 of the training video, you can keep on watching and you're good to go. However, if you are not an intern but you have watched the part 1 video, please look under the user manual section of the deliverable and you will see 2 other videos for the administrator and the volunteer training videos. If you are an intern but you have not watched part 1, then you can find the part 1 video under the prototype section. So let's assume you're good to go and let's log in as an intern. And what we're going to do in our time together today is we're going to go through each form and understand how to input data. So let's begin with the client deliveries form. So you're going to begin this one by entering the client, that is the client family that's receiving the donation. So you can search for their name. However, if they're not in the system, you can't find them, you can select new client and a form will appear that will allow you to input data for the new client. But let's assume this client is already in the system. You'll select that, their name. You're going to select the date of today, the driver name you will input. And then next we have 2 fields around delivery status. The first one is either not home or successful. So if it's successful, then the makeup delivery status is automatically going to be NA. However, if the family was not home on the first try, then essentially a second try menu option will appear, which is the makeup delivery status. Here, these are your options. You can decide canceled, which means that you will not try to re-deliver the item. You're just going to cancel the instance. Need to reschedule means the family does want to receive the food, but you need to schedule a time to do so. Redone means you have scheduled a time to redeliver and it has been successfully delivered. So that's redone. And then scheduled is you have a time on the calendar to deliver this item, but the date has not come yet. So let's say the Johnson family would like the makeup delivery is rescheduled for 11/27 at 3:30 p.m. So this event notes section is a great place to record these different things. However, it is optional in case you don't need to record anything. So that's client deliveries. Next, let's look at destination deliveries. So you're going to search based on the agency that is receiving the donation. So here, let's say the Salvation Army is receiving the donation. However, just as before, if they are not in the system, you can click New Food Destination and a form will appear that will allow you to create a new destination. But let's say the Salvation Army is receiving. We're going to put in today's date and let's say they're receiving 40 pounds of food. Next is delivery status, and it's the exact same as what we saw before. So let's say this time it's successful. No need for event notes here, and we are done with the destination delivery. Next, let's look at donations. So donations represents the food that is in inventory or currently in-house. So we want to record the donor name that is giving us the food. So let's say that Collective Harvest has just given us some food. You will record their name there. Next is the Food Bank of Northeast Georgia reporting requirements. So they require you to record the food category and food type. So when you get a batch of new donations, you're going to create a new form for every different type of object. So let's say you have some meat and some dairy. You have to create 2 forms, one for the meat and one for the dairy. And this will make more sense as we go through the form. So when you're looking at your item, you have to decide whether it's considered raw, prepared, or other. Raw items include produce, meats, dairy, freezer, and dry goods. Prepared items include bread and bakery, prepared meals, cooler miscellaneous items, snack, juice, and beverages. If that still does not include what you have, you can put other and non-food. But let's say that we have some meat. We'll say it's donated on the 25th and say it was donated around 3 o'clock, and the number of pounds is 30 pounds. Now, if we also have some dairy, then you're gonna, like I said, have to create a whole new form for the dairy, and even though it's still from Collective Harvest. So we're gonna save the donation, and now let's add a donor. So let's say Wendy's would like to give us some of their extra burgers that they don't sell, the meat behind that. So let's record their phone number. You're going to record their address. Next, you're going to record their donor status. So the default is automatically set to active because it's assumed if they're new, then they're interested in donating. However, through time, if they tell you, sorry, for the next 6 months, we won't be able to donate, you can put them as a temp archival, which means they're temporarily archived, which means basically they won't be donating for a period of time. Archived means that they will never be donating anymore. They will not be donating at all. So this is important for record keeping purposes, so we'll leave it active for now. That's the donors. Next, let's look at destinations. So destinations represents the agencies that are receiving the food that we're giving. So let's say that Sparrow's Nest, actually we already have the Sparrow's Nest. Let's say the Athens Mission 2 is receiving, would like to be added to the system. We're gonna add them on Pinecrest Drive, Athens, Georgia 30605. You're gonna add their phone number and their destination status. The new addition here is because they're receiving food, we have the option of adding something called on probation, which is a status that says you're basically on warning mode. So we tried to give you a basket of groceries. However, you had your doors shut or you wouldn't accept it. And if that happens again, we won't be helping you anymore. So you can decide to put them on probation. But let's assume that they're on our good list for now and they're active. We'll save it there. Next, let's look at client families. So this is our most comprehensive form because we have a lot of data to record. On the left side is specifically designed for everything around the family information, and then the right column is around their meal requirements and how we can serve them. So let's say the family is Margot Smith and she prefers to go by Margot. The client full name represents the head of the family. So while a family might have 5 or 6 people in it, we need one representative to kind of be the contact person or the head. So that's why you only input one name here. Next, you'll see program. We're going to select the GRG program for them. Next, you have 3 dates that we need to record. The date referred to CKUGA, which let's say is today. The date they were referred by the ACCA, and the date that they exit the ACCA, which let's say they haven't exited yet. Status will leave as active, but similar to the destinations, if the family has a locked door and is never home when we try to deliver, you could put them on probation, but we'll leave them as active. If they are archived at a point, you can input the date they were archived, but it is an optional field because if they're active, this is not necessary. You'll input the address, and you'll input the latitude and longitude, which will be accomplished through Map Anything. For now, we're going to leave that out because we don't have that functionality currently. Route ID, you're going to, based on their neighborhood, select the ID. So let's say that they are from the downtown area. So we'll say they're 4. Primary phone number, you're going to record here. And then secondary phone number, say it's Margot's daughter, you're going to add, you can record that there. On the right here, you're going to see some more options around the services provided to them. Bag only means they're only going to receive groceries in a bag. They will not receive any meals. You can select that if that's necessary. Bag tag name, you might put Smith, 4 people. Household count, let's say they have 4, they have 2 adults, 1 youth, and 1 senior. Client notes, or before we go to client notes, it's important that the adult, youth, and senior count sum up to the household count. So 2 plus 1 plus 1 should equal 4. So household count includes all the adults, all the youth, and all the seniors. You can input any client notes, diet restrictions, or meal additions as necessary. Next, you have delivery routes. In order to add a new delivery route, you can select the date. So Tuesday, the neighborhood, let's say, is Highland River, and the route we'll say is 13. You can click save. And then last, we'll finish this up by going through some reports we created. So after you have inputted all this data, you want to see a visual. So there are 4 reports. The first one is a comprehensive food recovery report. So it's all the inventory that we have in-house currently, and that's organized by donor name and then specifically by food category. The next report is the client delivery report. So it's all the different instances where you deliver to the families, and that's organized by delivery status and then more specifically to the client. That's the second one. The third one is the distribution to the agencies, so the destination deliveries, and that's organized by the different agency names. And then the fourth and final one is the food category report, which is another view of the current inventory, and it's just organized by food category. So overall, there are many forms that you can see as an intern. And the view and accessibility is very similar to an administrator, but we hope you enjoy the system and its uses, and we encourage you to click around and kind of test different things to better understand how the forms are linked and connected to one another. But as I mentioned, I hope you enjoy this system and you continue saving food and saving seniors. Thank you.